I'm Dave D, and you're watching XP Team USA.
Will you search through the lonely earth for me? Climb through the briar and bramble. I'll be your treasure. I felt the touch of the key.
It's Thursday, it's 8 o'clock, and it's the Big Detecting Show. In fact, it's the new and improved Big Detecting Show. You might not see any differences at the moment, but Adrian?
I've had a haircut.
Have you?
Yeah, my son did
I just thought you've always been old and grey. I mean, I've always had hair like that.
Grey.
No, not
yeah,
red.
No, son did it.
Adrian.
Yes?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Dave. Yourself?
I haven't had a haircut. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm feeling better than I did last week, certainly.
Yeah,
So,
I had your COVID jab. I've got mine tomorrow, so...
Yeah, I suspect to be, well, saying that, it's different things for different people, isn't it?
Well, apparently, I just thought when I get home, I'll have something to drink to, like, numb the pain in the arm and headache or whatever you get. But apparently you're not going to drink much after it, so I'm going to do a bottle of wine before I go. So when I come home, that'll be a bit better, really.
Who's driving? Who's
driving? I'll go on my bike. I've got a chopper. I'll go on my chopper.
Okay. Well, just good evening to everybody who's already watching this evening. Darren Booth, History of Kaylee. Hello. Tom Trussell, Dominic Tomczyk, Gareth Howard, Phil Lee Wills, Simon Hadlow, Pete Pesty, Steve Afcroft, TC Detect, Scotty B, Graham Dempsey, Wayne Hickmott. God, loads already.
New York.
And everybody else. Someone in New York, did we say?
Yeah, Robert M. Howard. Hello from New York.
Hello from upstate New York. Would you like a cup of coffee?
Coffee.
That's as bad as I can get with New York. Anyway, good evening to everybody. And as part of and hello, Digger Dawn and Kev Whitmore and Aaron Weedle and Shane Holdcroft. I missed all them. And Scott DeBay and Chris Bailey. Hello, everybody. So, without further ado, as part of our changes that you're going to see, one of them is being, first and foremost, the big detecting show Diggers Dips prize draw will now take part at 9:15, which gives us more time with our guest, who tonight is Miss Emily Chambers. Good evening, Emily.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. It's great to finally speak to you properly.
Yeah, likewise. It's been a long time coming.
It certainly has. So basically what we're going to start tonight, we're just going to ask you about yourself, and then obviously we'll get into a little bit more into metal detecting, some of your finds, detecting with your dad. I thought she'd done that thing then that Barry was doing last week.
Yeah.
So Emily, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. So I'm 22 from Somerset in England. I'm training to be a lawyer, and as my favourite hobby in the world, I'm a long-time metal detectorist. I've been detecting since I was 16, so that's over 6 years. And I live on a big farm, so I don't actually have any local permissions other than the farm. So it's literally all I do. I'm a history fanatic. I always have been. It's sort of everywhere I go and everything I do is about history. And I just absolutely love to, research the history of the farm and local history. Obviously, like all history I find interesting, but local history especially. And I just kind of feel like detecting is a way to get a bit closer to that. So, yeah, and like you said, I got into detecting with my dad. He was the one that bought the first detector. And then obviously I caught the bug. And it's just been the rest is history, really. It's just gone from there.
Literally history.
Yeah, literally.
So how many years have you... Sorry, Adrian. Adrian first. Age before...
Sorry, I very much envy you, Emily, because being able to walk out your back door and detect at any time in the day or night, you can just go out. And I've seen your YouTube videos, and you've got a lot of land. How much land have you got?
It's over 1,000 acres. We don't own all of it, but we have free use of the whole lot to detect, and then obviously horse ride and chainsaw down logs for firewood. We have free use of the lot, so it's just basically fair game as far as detecting goes.
Yeah, it's my dream. If I won the lottery, everyone would buy a Ferrari or a speedboat or a villa in Spain. I'd just buy a farm with loads of land and be able to go out detecting any time in the day, have a fire, put a tent up, drink lots of beer and enjoy it. But no, I think it's fantastic because we hear so much about people in the hobby who enjoy detecting, who have permissions or struggle finding permissions, but it's quite rare. You have people who actually live on the land and detect on it. And it's nice, and you've got the history.
Yummy. So everything about that is just yummy.
It's what, Dave?
Yummy.
Yeah. I detect on my own land. I did in lockdown. I was quite fortunate, but mine's only 40 foot by 60 foot, so it didn't last long. But I did have some good finds.
We're quite lucky. We're in like a history hotspot, so to speak.
Yeah.
So we have a Roman road right next to us, and it kind of runs through the edge of the estate. It was an aristocratic deer park for several centuries with earls and dukes and all sorts and royalty visits. And so and then obviously we've got the Roman horde. So there's Roman activity. It's all sorts. It's all through the ages. It's been interesting. And even when it was just farmed, ridge and furrow farmland, they were still dropping things. So it really is quite an extraordinary place. I am very lucky to be where I am and have that sort of opportunity, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. Sorry, David.
I haven't got a clue anymore.
you say you're near a Roman road. I've got permission that's near a Roman road, and it definitely shows there is more Roman activity there. Only last weekend we found a hotspot of Roman artifacts, and it's interesting because it seems to spread around a mile from the road, and there's certain things that pop up. One of them being wild garlic and things like that growing on the edge of the field, which must have been there from potentially Roman times, and snail shells, oyster shells. But we're not anywhere. Do you know what I mean? There's certain things, and they're in a certain area. Do you find that? Where
so we've got Roman finds sort of littered over the hoard, but over the farm. But our main site, the hoard site, is very, very near to the Roman road. It was near the site of kind of a Roman settlement, and there, without giving too much away, there were some villas nearby. You know, it's a significant place, and we find that our hoard, which we once thought was a scattered hoard, we're actually now starting to think it could be a Roman settlement. Because we, like you said, we find oyster shells, we find so much black burnished ware, Samian pottery, grey ware, hobnails. And because the only problem we had was the fact that our Roman hoard is very near a 17th century banquet hall. And so we thought, before we found the Roman hoard, we thought the oyster shells were from that. We thought, oh, they must be just from the banquet hall because they were posh aristocrats, they were eating all sorts. But then we found the Roman site with all the oyster shells, and then we were sort of wondering if there's any way you could date oyster shells, because we just wanted to know. But the black burnished ware is everywhere. We've got buckets full. It's crazy.
That's a really good point, actually, because I've never ever thought that, dating oyster shells. Might write a book on it. Don't know anything about it, but because you get fresh water and salt water, don't you? So it can be a mix. But no, it's really interesting. Really interesting. You mentioned the Roman hoard. That was quite recent. You found that with your dad, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we basically 2 or 3 years ago, we had our earlier detectors, and we knew that there was interesting things on this site. We'd found the odd copper coin, obviously, sort of bronze Roman coins and things, so from all sorts of areas of history, because obviously the banquet hall, we got some milled coppers from sort of Georgian era, but we'd had a couple of Roman coins. But the area is so heavily iron polluted. It is honestly a thick carpet of iron. We have little magnets, and you can drag them through the soil, and there'll just be iron filings everywhere over them. So for a long time, we couldn't actually detect the area. And then we got our hands on some better detectors. And then we went back, and like you said, we just got coin after coin after coin. It was unbelievable, really. And there's so much still out there that we've just not had a chance to find yet, I reckon.
So the big question is, what machine did you start out with, and did you buy it, or did your dad buy it?
So my very ever first machine was the Garrett Euroace, and that Dad bought that one when I was 16, and we went out with it, and I was doing the digging, and sort of because we didn't have a pinpointer at that time, so Dad would get the find out of the hole, and then I'd split the pile in two, and Dad would find which pile it was in, and I'd split the pile. So it was kind of a teamwork. And then Dad bought the AT Pro, the Garrett AT Pro, and it was good, but it didn't have the multi-frequency. So it just wasn't quite what we needed. And then I got the Garrett Apex, and Dad got the Equinox, the Minelab Equinox 800. And that was when we could get to the Roman site, because finally we had the sort of detectors with the ability to detect in that sort of ground. And I think the Equinox did quite a bit better just because of its power, I think, to be honest.
Did you find, though, because quite often, I mentioned earlier, I'd field test for Treasure Hunting magazine, so I'll quite often go out with my friend, and he'll have a Rutus or a Nox or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll probably have a beginner machine, let's say, beginner to intermediate machine. He will not pick up stuff with his high-end machine, but I will with his low-end machine, and vice versa. Did you find that with your dad?
Massively. And something my dad and I quite often like to do, and especially when Dad was getting used to the Nox, is if I got a signal, he'd come over and have a look at it with his before I dug it, and vice versa. And quite often, well, more often than not, whatever he could pick up with his nocks, I really couldn't pick up with my apex. I think it was just the amount of iron in the sight was just unbelievable, and I just couldn't. With the nocks, you can very much tune out the iron more so than on the apex. So with that sort of sight, while he could pin onto a certain number, say a Roman coin came in at a reading of 8 or 9 on the nocks, which they regularly did, my apex would just be flicking everywhere. And even if you discriminate away from them, you still sort of can ping, they still ping. If the iron readings are strong enough, it just sort of distorted what we were trying to get. It was a pain. That sight is a pain in the arse, regardless of what detector you use, to be honest. And, you know, Dad, because I went back to work, I was furloughed, and I went back to work quite soon after the field was harvested and we could get onto it. And Dad would just spend hours after hour in the field going, you have to go so slowly over the hoard site, because it is just, you just have to really go over with a tooth comb to be able to pick out the coins.
Yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it? I think it's always best when you detect in pairs or groups, because some people find stuff others don't, and it just goes to show, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. I mean, that's it. I've always been I've never actually gone to any club digs or group digs or anything like that, but it has always been me and Dad, and it's been brilliant.
It's lovely. What? I'm not being rude here, but a young lady your age is quite rare in our hobby. So what was it that finally clicked when you thought, I want to do this? Was it your interest in history, or was it unearthing stuff, just the excitement of what's under the ground? What was it? What was it?
So, like I said, I've been what a lot of people probably call a history nerd. I was always going to castles and National Trust properties ever since I was young. I would spend hours and still do just spend hours researching history, just for fun of it. When I'm doing my makeup for work in the morning, I'll have a history documentary on, just ticking on over. So it always has just been something I've adored. But it really was, as soon as Dad got the metal detector, I kind of was like, hang on, this is really cool, because I had always researched the history of my farm, you know, for years. We'd lived here since I was 7. So for a very long time, I've been researching the history of the farm anyway, and things. And suddenly Dad produced this machine where you could dig up actual history. And from day one, I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. I just finished school. I just finished my exams. I had a massive summer holiday. And it's all we really did is just detect in all weathers. You know, rain or shine, we were out detecting. It was just brilliant. And it was such a cool way to, get closer to history, basically. It was the closest, and it still is the closest way I can get to the history of the farm.
Yeah, I must admit, your YouTube channel, it's quite nice. What's Emily Detects, isn't it? Your YouTube channel?
Metal Detecting Emily.
Sorry, yeah. I've been following the wrong one. No,
I had to think about that then. I can't remember.
What I find quite good and nice is most of us, when we dig up a find, we look at it and go, oh, that might be... You're pretty spot on with your identification of finds. So is that through reading books or just watching stuff or magazines? How have you got to that level?
It's a bit of everything. I think we have a lot of identification books, and I do quite a lot of reading online. I just like looking at what I could potentially find as well as what I have found. So I quite enjoy buckles. Don't know why, I always have. So I'm always looking at things. Yeah, they're gorgeous, especially Tudor and things like that. It's gorgeous. But yeah, so I've always sort of been looking and reading, but ever since I started detecting, it's been just an upwards curve of learning, you know. Trying to identify a hammered coin, you learn about sort of 50 others that you thought could be it but aren't. And also I think it's repetitiveness, as in on our farm we often find King George II halfpennies and toneback buttons and musket balls. So after a while you go, oh, that's a so-and-so, because you found like 50 others over the years. And the thing is, I'm the first person to hold my hands up and say, I have only been detecting 6 years. I am only 22, so I don't know everything. And I'm quite happy to admit I've just found this, no idea what it is, because I'm not going to stand there and make weird and incorrect guesses and make myself look like a tit. I'd rather just say, I don't know what this is. Does anyone else know? You know, because it makes me look less stupid that way.
Yeah, don't worry. I make myself look like that a lot. Sorry, Dave. What? I
was just going to mention earlier. Luke, can you share the screen for me, please? You mentioned the Roman horde, and there's been quite a few questions about it. Obviously, I don't know much about it. I've had a look at the video, but can you tell the readers about the finds? Obviously, it was over a period of time. What machines yourself and your dad were using when you found them, and how many are in total at the moment?
Yeah, so in total, we currently have 67 coins, although I do expect this to go up when the field is ploughed. We found the horde using the Minelab Equinox 800, and as well as that, we used the Apex. It's a scattered horde over an area of about 20 by 30 sort of meters. It is in a huge area. And although that doesn't sound like too big, when it's so contaminated, it is just really, really difficult. You just have to go over so slowly. The coins are all from a very similar time period. It's from the House of Constantine. Sort of, we're looking at 320 to 340 AD. However, it's actually like unbelievably hard to ID Roman coins compared to say like Tudor or Georgian, whereas it's relatively easy to look at a coin or just Google the monarch and find what coin it is. Roman coins have a much wider variety, it seems, and unless you're actually very well versed on Roman coins, which I'm not, because I never really found them that much before the horde, it's quite difficult to actually figure out what coins they are. So the ones that we have been able to ID and accurately date, it's about 340 AD, and it's the House of Constantine. Some of them are in poor condition, they're really toasted, but others are actually in really, really good condition. My favourite coin from the horde as well, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a Barbarius Radiate. That's a wrong pronunciation. Someone could probably correct me. But it's a imitation silver, which was an imitation at the time that was made to look like a silver coin, but was actually I think it's bronze or copper. I can't remember what they made it out of, but it was just dipped basically, and you can tell that because most of the silver dip's now worn away. So although it looked quite convincing at the time, it's quite interesting. It's a Roman forgery, so to speak, which I find really cool.
Cool, yeah. Sometimes
fantastic. Thanks, Luke, for bringing the YouTube. Obviously, that looked a lot better looking at the video, and it was like you were describing it on the video itself, which was, fantastically well done. So, beautiful find, and obviously, it must be even more special the fact that you're sharing the hobby and the passion with your dad.
Oh, massively. I mean, I've always been close with my dad. We've always got on like a house on fire. He's, it's quite cliche, but the best dad I could ask for, and we've also, I think maybe that's where I got my passion from history. Ever since I was little, we'd be going out field walking and finding pottery or clay pipes in the fields, and little like 5-year-old me was going out collecting clay pipes in the fields. Going out and visiting, castles and things. And then just the simple things like driving along in the car and dad would be talking about the history of the area or the castles, or, oh, that's a hill fort, that's so-and-so castle, But yeah, it's wonderful. We spend so much time together, and I just have this absolute plethora of memories and funny moments and just brilliant things. And it really, really is. It's something that we can bond over, because obviously dad's, a middle-aged man and I'm a young woman, and we don't have that much in common in our day-to-day life. But detecting in history is something that we just click with. It's just a shared interest, which is so much more than an interest for both of us, because dad feels the same way as me. And he just knows everything. It's crazy. He just knows so much about history as well. He's like a walking encyclopedia of history. It is unbelievable. So anything I don't know, he knows, which is really useful.
Do you find, I know the machines you've got are different,
Yeah.
but would you say you find more than your dad?
I'd say, because we're both using the Minelab Equinox 800 now, so we're pretty neck and neck. When Dad was using the Nox and I was using the Apex, he was finding more than me, and like he was having, it's hard to explain, he was having stronger signals. When he got a definitive signal, he had that signal, whereas I was there with the Apex for hours trying to make things sound like a signal even if they weren't quite, and I was digging a lot of iron. But now I've got the Equinox as well, and we're both using the same detector. It is very, very much like neck on neck. We find pretty much the same. We'll both come back with a handful. Like obviously some days. So when I found my gold half angel, he found, I think he found 2 hammered coins that day, silver ones. But obviously I got to go home with the little trophy. And other days he'll find loads and I'll find nothing. I think it is just partially luck, you know. If you walk over it, you'll find it, and sometimes we just walk over better things than each other. But no, we're pretty neck on neck, because if we walk over it, we'll find it. There's no difference anymore, which is quite nice.
No, it's interesting, because the reason I ask is I think women are a little bit more patient than men, shall I put it? So surface finds, for example, and just having that little bit more patience. I wonder if you do find more, because you've got the patience to listen. Whereas I'll get a bad signal and probably think, well, whereas I don't know, it's just one of those things, isn't it? So it's quite interesting. But what do what do your friends think of you detecting?
Well, that's kind of when I started detecting in school, I got bullied quite mercilessly. That's the one. I got bullied mercilessly. I can't say it. I got really bullied badly. There we go. I got badly bullied. And I was given a lot of grief, so I just kept it to myself. I never told anybody really. It was just something I did with Dad, and it never got talked about outside of my house, which was fine. Now we're adults. I have a group of friends who are really interested in my detecting. They seem to always ask, you know, what I found, you know, and I have to show them my finds, which is actually how my Instagram account started. We went into national lockdown, obviously, and I couldn't show people what I'd found anymore. My relatives, my nan, granddad, my friends were all sort of messaging me asking what I'd found. So I kind of thought, well, let's just put it all in one place. And so I just made a little Instagram account so I could show my friends and show my family, because they are, now my friends are really interested. And quite often they do ask, well, you know, can they come detecting with me? And I have to try and explain to them that you can, and you're more than welcome, but it's not like we're pulling treasure out the ground every 5 minutes. There will be about 4 hours of detecting, maybe 4 or 5 hours, and we will maybe find like 3 or 4 things. So you'll have to prepare yourself for that, because it's not maybe as you know, I don't show myself digging up all the trash on my YouTube and Instagram, but obviously it's majority digging up rubbish. So I think they think it's more exciting in the field than it is.
Yeah, but then when they take the mickey and you turn around and say, I found a Henry VII half angel, they sort of shut up then, don't they? Oh, did you? Oh, what, real gold? You know, I've had similar things, you know, occasionally, you know, people, oh, metal detecting, oh, did you find much? And you go, yeah, I found a few things, and you mention like the odd gold coin and things, and then suddenly and I don't know if it's interest in the history or it's gold in the head. It's like money, gold. I
think it is. You know, they go, "Oh, what's it worth? Is it worth much? Have you had it valued? Yeah. What's it worth?" And you think, "Well, it is worth something, but that's not the point."
I'm the first person to touch that in over 500 years. That's the point.
That was it. That's my favourite thing. You know, anything. I found my first cartwheel penny the other day, and I just kind of like stopped and was like, oh, the last person to touch this was a Georgian, you know. I still to this day I struggle to wrap my head around it sometimes. It's just so exciting.
If only they could talk. That's what I think. If only any artifact. I mean, what is your favourite? Is it artifacts or coins? What is your favourite find?
My favourite find is artifacts. I like finding coins. They're always exciting. And my Henry VII obviously was probably the most exciting day in the field I have ever had. But I still find artifacts more interesting because, like I said, I detect to learn more about the history of the farm and who lived here and who walked these lands and what they were doing and what sort of things they were up to. So, for example, we found a lead horn book the other day, which is a lead sort of tablet with the alphabet printed on it and something written in Latin on the back. And that was an educational tool for poor children, made out of lead though, for poor children. And that's mind-blowing. I mean, that's so cool that children hundreds of years ago would have held this and learned from it and studied the language and learned how to read from this implement that I've just dug up. It just is absolutely mind-blowing. Everything like that. I mean, coins are cool, but they pass hands a lot through history. They're minted somewhere and passed through hands. So although it's interesting to think about what those coins would have paid for and who would have owned those coins at some point, I think artifacts are more personal to the person that owned them, and they have been cherished more than coins. So for me, and I think my motives for metal detecting, that is what I find most interesting.
Well, listen, we mentioned that we're going to have some little new features coming onto the show. So I'm going to share the first one right any minute now when I find the file. And these are going to be popping up now and again during the show. So, Luke, I think I'm doing this right. We haven't shared videos before. So here is the first little video of the evening.
My name's Kaylee, and today we're going to talk about Sutton Hoo in Suffolk, England. Located along the banks of the River Deben lies Sutton Hoo. A mansion was built on the property of Sutton Hoo in 1910, and this property was bought in 1926 by Colonel Frank Priddy, a retired military officer. He passed away in 1934 and left a widow, Edith Priddy, and a young son, Robert Dempster Priddy. In 1937, Edith decided that she wanted the mounds on her property to be excavated, and through the Ipswich Museum, she hired the services of Basil Brown in 1938. He was a self-taught archaeologist who worked full-time for the museum. In June 1938, she showed him the mounds. Basil Brown began excavating Mound 1 in May 1939. They started digging a trench on the east side of the mound, and on the third day they discovered an iron rivet from a ship. Within the next several hours, more rivets were found in their original position. The size of the find became quickly apparent, as this has been one of the most spectacular archaeological discoveries in Britain. For weeks they painstakingly removed soil from the ship's hull until they reached the burial chamber. You've heard me talk about a ship, but none of the original timber had survived. Only the shape of the ship was perfectly preserved. The artifacts found in the burial chamber near the body have been identified as regalia. This points to it being the resting place of a king. The artistic and technical quality of the gold and garnet inlaid objects are absolutely exceptional and among the true wonders of Sutton Hoo. Sutton Hoo is the cornerstone in the study of art in Britain between the 6th and 9th century AD. The gold and garnet fittings show the fusion of earlier techniques and motifs by master goldsmiths in a new creative way. The Sutton Hoo treasures represent the pre-Christian royal accumulation of precious objects from many different cultures.
How good was that? That worked perfectly. I'm well happy with that. And thank you, Kaylee. You can see the full episode of History with Kaylee's look at the Sutton Hoo on her channel, History with Kaylee. So pop along over there, and it's a fantastic. And we're going to be bringing you more things akin to that, trailers for YouTube channels, etc., as well as some other bits and bobs. And we're going to have, probably next week, we're going to make an announcement on some of the things that we are looking at with the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, including that of Kaylee as well. So we're going to be including Kaylee a little bit more. Evening to all the other new people who've popped into the chat room tonight, all the new viewers. Thank you for coming. This is the Big Detective Show. Myself, Dave Sadler, my co-host and confidant, Mr. Adrian Gaylor, and tonight's guest, Emily Chambers from Metal Detecting Emily, not Emily Metal Detecting. So you noticed I might have been a little bit quiet in the show up to now, but we've had a lot of questions coming through, which I've been jotting down. So it's obviously we've got things to talk about, and we get to interact with the audience a little bit more as well. The first question I would like to ask is about YouTube and how your YouTube channel came about. What were the reasons behind that? Oh, she's on mute. Oh, there she is.
Oh.
It's all right. You're back again.
Okay, so I basically, like I said, I started my Instagram just to share with my family and my friends just what I was finding during lockdown, because I couldn't see them in person. And then it just took off. And I mean, I had no idea there was a detecting community online. So I think I got over 1,000 followers in a week, and I was just blown away. And I had all these messages from people saying how they were like really, really, they loved seeing what I found because they couldn't detect for whatever reasons. They lived in the cities and they found it hard to get permissions, or they could detect, but they wanted to detect England. And they kept saying that they were sort of detecting vicariously through me almost. And then I also just had loads of people saying, you should make a YouTube channel. You should make a YouTube channel. And I put it off for quite a while because it seemed like quite a big commitment. And I just didn't know if I could be bothered, really. As in, I could, but I had quite a lot on my plate with exams and things coming up. So I did think about it for a while. And then I just sort of thought, well, why not? I don't have to keep to an upload schedule as much. So if I can, make other people happy by letting them come with me on my digs, even if it's virtually, then so be it. So I made a channel just thinking, anybody who takes an interest might want to watch. And yeah, it's done really well. And I love the feedback. I get lots of nice feedback. And it's just exciting to be able to bring people with me on my digs. I don't film every dig because when I'm filming a dig, I feel like it takes away some of the digging time. I'm often having to think about, I'll kind of open a hole and I'll see something, and then I have to think, oh, right, let's get my phone out, film this. Whereas I just want to get and find out what it is and have a look at it, So I don't film every dig, and sometimes I just want to detect. I don't want to have to think about filming it and stuff. I just want to hang out with Dad. But yeah, no, it came about just really as an extension of my Instagram for anybody who wanted to come on my digs through me, and sort of dig vicariously in England through my channel. So yeah, it was a bit of a venture and a bit of a stepping outside my comfort zone, but I'm really glad I did it, and it seems to be doing quite well. So it's just nice that people are interested more than anything.
Adrian, I have to admit that along with the discriminator Chris, Emily is by far our best spoken person.
Yes. Hats off to you, Emily. You're probably nervous first time you've been on a show like this, but you're coming across very well. And I'm sitting here, like I said the other week, I feel like I'm watching television. I'm interested, and then I realise I'm in it. But yeah, no, well done. Your dad must be very proud of you as well, because my daughter's just starting to get interested in it. She had the Apex. I had a field test on the Apex, and it's a machine. It's lightweight, easy to use, and she enjoyed it.
That's why I got the Apex, because I'm quite small. I'm 5'3", so like the AT Pro was too heavy for me. It just makes your arm ache after a while, and I did go to the gym and try and do push-ups and things, but after a while it really pulls down your shoulder and that. So, but then I really, really did want to get the Minelab, the Equinox 800. And when I was talking to Dad about, you know, is it going to be too heavy? Will it strain my arms? He just said, well, you have to grow some muscles then, won't you? And so I just got on with it, really.
Do people laugh at you in the gym for doing one-arm press-ups?
Yeah, just weightlifting one arm. It makes me look quite suspicious, really.
I'll tell you a comment in the chat room in a minute, but we're going to have to get Chris the Discriminator on alongside her one day, and they can have a well-spokenness out. Scotty B's comment. Brilliant. Scotty B's comment. Best ever. Still bigger than me, Emily. You go, Scotty. You go.
I get on really well with Chris. He's lovely.
Are you thinking of going to Detecticon or similar rallies?
Yeah, so I've been looking into it because, like I said, I've never ever been on any club digs. I've never been part of a club. I've never gone to any group digs or anything like that. Partly because I didn't actually know they existed. Like I said, it was just me and Dad, or just me now and again, and that's how we rolled. So until I actually went online and found this massive community of detectorists that I didn't know existed, I didn't know clubs and groups and things. I didn't know there was a whole festival for detecting. I didn't know that many people were into it. So yes is the answer. I will definitely be going. Despite the fact my friends are into detecting, as in they like to see what I've found, I've never ever had a detecting friend until I went online, and now suddenly I've got loads of detecting friends, and I kind of want to meet them all. So yes, I will definitely be going to as many as possible, to be honest. As soon as like the whole COVID thing's done and dusted, and it's, you know, safe to get back out or whatever, I will just be going to them all if I can, as many as possible, really.
I think there's actually 10 tickets left now for Detecticon, which is in Northumberland on June the 23rd, 24th and 25th. So anybody still wants to go to Detecticon, have a look at that. Put it in your Google search engine. You'll find it straight away on the North of Tyne Metal Detecting website. So, Scotty, I might not be able to attend because I don't know what day I fly out to Turkey. But if I can get there for at least one day, I will be there because I've promised you. Anyway, do you know all the questions that I've been writing down, Emily? He keeps asking. He's preempting everything. So one of the other questions that we've had is about siblings. Do you have any brothers or sisters? And are they also interested in the hobby?
So I've got a younger brother called Tom. He's... How old is he? I think he's 19. He's 19 now. Always forget because he's like 12 in my mind. He's my little brother. But yeah, no, he's 19 now. And no, not really. He kind of is slightly, as in like when we come home, he likes to, if he's around, he'll be like, oh, what have you found? And we'll show him. And I'm the one often like, oh, look what we found. And he's like, oh, cool, nice, well done. When we found the Half Angel and Dad and I got home, we basically burst through the front door. Tom was in the kitchen and he was like, you guys all right? And I was like, look what we found. And he really, really did appreciate that. He was like, this is incredible. And he does show an interest, but as far as detecting, I don't think he's ever gone detecting. I don't really think he's a computer scientist in the making, so he's more into his PCs and gaming and computers and things, and I'm more interested in detecting and history and digging and stuff.
Scotty, you'll be glad to know I've just sent a text and I fly out on Monday the 26th. Do you reckon I could get 3 days in Northumberland before?
Give it a shot.
There's a shot. We'll have a go at that. I'm getting abuse for saying I might not be able to go here. Have you ever metal detected on top of a hill in a thunderstorm?
Who asked that? Was that Dad?
Gallo May.
Yes, we have. It was probably one of our funniest memories. We were on top of a hill. And we were digging, and it was where we found like 5 or 6 hammered coins, or like silver ones, all very close together. And we had a brilliant target, and we could hear this sort of rolling thunder approaching. And this was several years ago. But we carried on. We were like, well, if we're really quick, we'll have to just keep digging. And we were there frantically digging. And then the rain set in. So it was chucking with rain. This thunderstorm with lightning was coming closer and closer. And we were stood on top of a hill holding metal poles, essentially. So I'd sort of like crouched down, trying not to be a conductor. But yeah, we were digging more and more, trying to find it. And it was a shotgun cartridge. So after that, we just legged it off the hill after all of that. But yeah, that was probably the funniest time. It was the most frantic, what I would call extreme metal detecting.
Extreme, yeah.
You may have also, viewers, noticed that tonight's first, Luke can't spell, Ark, MMD, put an extra in there. So there's your first quiz question for the night. Spot on. And we've got some new goodies as well. Luke, can we go over to Dave Cam 2 and we'll just have a look at some of the goodies that we've got. Here we go, Dave Cam 2. So there you go. So from Detectaware UK, we have this very lovely mouse matty fines grid type thing. Very, very nice. We also have these little aluminium, pop along, take them on your dig with you, and do your photographs. How nice are they?
Very good.
Very good. This was in my care package that come this week. We also have very spiffing ArkMD mag mugs. And also, because I asked him to, well, I bought several things for trial. A big detecting show mug. Adrian needs one of them for drinking on the show. And finally, what came this week, unfortunately, I ordered the wrong size, is this absolutely fantastic Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine t-shirt. So thank you for Detectingware UK for that. Also this week, for those of you who don't know, in the shops right now, is this month's Treasure Hunting magazine. And there's a field test of a Quest Q30 by apparently the world's most foremost field tester, machine tester, whoever that may be. Oh, hello, Adrian.
Oh, hello, David. Sorry, I didn't get that bit. Broke up.
I think what we'll do now, we're going to show another wee video, another trailer for another new YouTube video of a gentleman who's going to be coming on the show in a few weeks' time, or maybe a month or so. So here we go.
What's about?
Siddington in Cheshire stands a beautiful timber frame church dated to 1474 AD. So, no surprise that all the benches were then replaced.
I was on mute then. I forgot to unmute myself. TV presenter for History is the channel. James Baum is the gentleman who's making the videos. That was Siddington Church in Cheshire, and it just so happens to be where I got married and where my two children were actually where they were both christened there, my children. So a lot of memories, that place. Absolutely stunning. There's another episode of a church just down the road called Martin Church, and again, absolutely stunning. That one's actually got perspex in the wall, so you can see the old mortar. What's it called? What's it called? The grass and the mortar. You know the word.
Mortar. Yeah.
No, the old
Whittle.
No.
Oh,
Daub. Whittle and Daub.
Whittle and Daub.
There we go. We got
Engine bracket.
So yes, as you can see, we're going to pop in a few videos here and there. We've got a few more still to do before the end of the show. And in about 10 minutes or so, we're going to have a look at the news, and we're going to talk it between us. We're not doing the news in the old manner, which we normally do. We're going to do it a little bit different, and we're going to obviously have a chat with Emily during it as well. Adrian's chose one this week, and I've chosen one this week, but we will be doing the news in full on the website itself over the weekend, the weekly news, and probably incorporate more archaeology into it than we normally would. So there you go. Emily, you've mentioned the angel, and nicely, I've got a photograph lined up of said image. Luke, if we can share the screen. There we go. Absolutely beautiful. So there's a great story behind this in relation to while everybody else was sat at home, not able to do anything, your exercise was standing outside your back door waving your metal detector. So tell us about how this came about.
So this basically, so on the farm, we have kind of a post-medieval farm. So the estate has like a couple of farms on it, and the older farm was built on the site of a medieval manor. So it's had a lot of history for many, many years. And this was found near that farm, like just down the road. And we do a lot of our research on old maps and other sort of resources. And on all the old maps, like the really, really old maps, you can see that there are a little kind of, there's like a building or something. And on LiDAR maps, you can see the remains of something. And there's a road on some of the much older maps which led to nothing. So we figured that there was something there at some point. And field walking, you can see that there's so much post-medieval pottery leading away sort of 17th century onwards. So there was definitely something going on there. And now obviously this coin is older than that, but it doesn't mean to say that there wasn't something, So we started out in that field, and it is a bit of a dumping ground for sort of Victorian people. So there is a lot to work your way through. And this site, we had just been finding so much like musket balls, old buckles, old thimbles, all sorts of things from that period and later. A lot of basically Tudor finds, typical Tudor finds. And then I got a signal, and we dug so much lead that day, lead fragments, cut lead, musket balls. And I just got another lead reading. I think it was like 59 on the apex. And it was just a standard. It wasn't even as strong as lead. And so I didn't really think much of it at all. I just was thinking, oh God, another bit of lead. But I had to dig it, because if you get a relatively good signal with a relatively non-ferrous reading and it doesn't move and it's not flickering, you've got to dig it. So I dug it. And next thing I know, I saw it was poking out the soil, and I saw around the edge of it kind of the lettering, and gold had not even crossed my mind. I didn't think for a second it would be gold. I thought it was tarnished silver. And then I kind of looked closer at this coin in this mud lump, and I'd never ever found a gold coin before. And so I kind of was thinking, surely not. And I shouted to Dad to come over, and then my hands got all shaky. And yeah, we cleaned it off, and clear as day, it was not only a half angel, but one of the best conditioned hammered coins we've ever found. I can't quite understand how we got so lucky. The area that it was found in, because like I said, the estate was a deer park for centuries. That area had only really been ploughed for a few decades. So it didn't have the heavy plough damage that a lot of the other fields had had. You know, it had always been close to the farm. And if those were buildings at one point, it would probably have been in maybe their yard or their back garden sort of thing. We think it could be a hunting lodge because of where it's located, and it's kind of in situ with other, like the dog kennels, the hunting kennels, what the remains of are relatively near. So it kind of all ties in that it could have been a hunting lodge or something. But it just was absolutely mind-blowing. And, you know, we were both over the moon, Dad and I, and we couldn't really concentrate on much else that day. Eventually, we did just have to go home and clean it and double check we'd identified it. And it was just unbelievable, to be quite honest. I can't, the adrenaline was just something else. I can't describe it, really.
It was actually pointed out to us on the show by one of our friends, Aaron Weedle, who actually he'd found it, and he at the time he'd started to put some videos together for the weekly news. So he included that and asked us to obviously give you a shout and see if you were able to come onto the show. So we've got Aaron to thank for asking you on the show, really. So thank you, Aaron, as ever. We like Aaron. He's nice. Absolutely stunning coin. I mean, the detail on it is something else. If I look away like that, it's because I'm looking at the other computer because I can't see what's going on. So I'll draw to this one in a minute, but it's absolutely stunning. So there's obviously a ship and a coat of arms on one side. Do we know who the effigy is on the right?
That's Archangel Michael, and he's slaying a dragon with his long sword thing. But yeah, it's Archangel Michael, who's, I believe, a religious figure at the time. And you can even see the detail in his little legging things that he's got on. I don't quite know what they are, but it's just unbelievable. I can't. I mean, I've actually got it here because I just always have it around. There it is. There's the little thing. Wait, how do we do this? Okay, well, he's kind of there, nice and shiny. And then there's the little boat thing. It's not the best quality on my camera, but yeah. I just it
is an absolutely so. Congratulations on finding that. It's absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
And I'm sure everybody will agree. And I've stopped sharing now, so I can look at the screen again. We've got some other images as well to look at that you've sent over. So, Luke, if I could share the screen again, that would be delightful. And then, obviously, you can tell us about where am I? There I am. I was lost. You can tell us about these as well.
Yeah, sure.
Are we sharing, Luke? Am I there? Not at the moment. Let me just pop back the other way. Oh, yeah. It's because I haven't pressed the button. David Technology. So this is you and Dad?
Yeah, this is me and Dad. We went out on his birthday. Because he was like, his birthday's in June. So obviously June last year was lockdown. We couldn't go out or do anything. So we went metal detecting for the day, obviously. And I think in that photo, we just found Elizabeth I threepence, so silver hammered coin. And that's just our little photo of success.
I do like his T-shirt. That's fantastic.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
What machine did you find it with, Emily?
So I actually found that, I think, with the Euroace. I think I was still using the Euroace at that point. And I found the signal, and then I let Dad sort of take over because he wanted to check it out. Because I think he hadn't had his AT Pro that long. And then we dug it up. He sort of like, I dug and he just checked the signal every now and again. And it was a hammered. And it was quite an iron polluted ground. We had World War I and World War II soldiers on the farm during the war. And I think that was the area where perhaps they had a shower block or something, because there's loads of like old tiles and parts of shower, mechanics or whatever it is. It just seems like perhaps there was something there that was a showery, blocky sort of thing. So it was really hard to find. Basically, it was all amongst other stuff. But yeah, that was a brilliant day.
And there's another image from the same day. I know that because he's got the same clothes on.
Yeah, that was us. I think that's a musket ball that we'd found. But I love that photo. That's such a nice photo. That sums up most of our detecting, which is just us looking at stuff in detail.
I think that one's a canvas picture, to be honest. Oh, wrong one. That should go on a canvas. Now, another nice little coin.
Oh, yeah. So that's my King George II halfpenny. Now, like every single George II halfpenny I found up until, I think that is actually Monday's dig. So I found that this week. They've all been toasted, like absolutely toasted. Some of them you can make out vague shapes. And then this comes up. I just was mind blown at the quality and the detail of the patina like on there is just like unlike anything I'd ever seen before. I didn't recognize it. I almost had to look it up online and go, is this what they're supposed to look like? Because I'd never seen one that wasn't black and just smooth before. So yeah, that's probably one of my most exciting coins I've ever found.
And this one, I take it relates to the RAF, the Army, or whatever we're on the site.
Yeah, so that's a Royal Flying Corps Sweetheart Badge, and it was given to whoever the Royal Flying Corps soldier or person left behind. The Royal Flying Corps was between, I think, what is it? Is it like 1912 to 1918 or 1910 to 1917? It was only a very small period of time, basically, before the RAF was founded. And they'd only just started flying planes really at that point. They hadn't had much experience. So it was just an arm of the army. It was just a little branch until they decided, okay, we need a whole sort of division dedicated to the air. And that was given to, wives, girlfriends, children of whoever would be left behind. And then they lost it. So we found it sort of 100 years later.
I found one of those, and it's lovely. It's really, they're worth quite a bit of money, actually. A lot of collectors for them, but yeah, I think they are. But yeah, it's a lovely little find. That the history behind it is really interesting. I love those little sweetheart badges.
Now, this last photograph, your dad again, and somebody else.
So that's my partner Kyle, and
Hi, Kyle.
I've managed to get him into detecting as well. He never used to enjoy it because I always used to just bring him along so he could dig for me. And that was boring, it turns out. But I gave him my old Euroace, and he has that now. And now he loves detecting because it's obviously more fun when you go detecting. And that day, Kyle, so that is the field where the Roman road possibly runs through. And Kyle found one half of a Roman fibula brooch, which was like mind-blowing in itself. I was over the moon. It was such a gorgeous brooch, like even though we only had half of it. And then Dad found the other half. So that's a photo.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
That's the reason for the photograph then.
That's them just proudly displaying their...
So it's like they're actually lovers, and that's half a token each.
You could get a wedding ring. Get a wedding ring made out of that, Emily.
Oh, they could wear that, couldn't they? Half each.
Yeah. Yeah, nice ceremony.
Oh, wait, honestly, it does look like... I felt so left out.
As you would. Well, what we're going to do now, as promised, we're going to nip over and have a look at this week's news. Now, there's... I'll have to do this different... I'll have to show you your second, Adrian. The first one is one of a archaeological find from yesterday, which is in that folder. That's why I can't find it. So here we go. This is Tintern Abbey in South Wales. What do you think of that? That was absolutely fantastic. We did put, as soon as I found out yesterday, we put a report on the Big Detective, the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. Wonderful, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I saw that.
Eerie music.
Yeah. It's just gobsmacking. You just don't know what you're walking over half the time.
No.
You know, you just
Exactly.
I want to know kind of, I just, honestly, my first thought is I'd love to metal detect in there. If it's been hidden for so many years, the last people to go in there would have been there hundreds of years ago. I'm sure they would have dropped stuff, and you just want to go and see what's in there.
I'm hoping that it does get a good, proper excavation, and we can find out all the reports on that. Next up, we've got an image that Adrian wanted to give mention to. If I can find it.
This is...
We'll be in a minute, Adrian.
Sorry.
There
Sorry, it's not great quality. I took it off the magazine. This has been found by Richard Monk in Suffolk, and he's intrigued. It's a copper alloy brooch he found, and he wonders if it's Roman. He's looked in the Bennett's Bible of Roman artifacts, and he's found sort of similar, but he's not quite sure if anyone knows what it is, because he's done a lot of research. It clearly shows Triton, who was the son of Poseidon, and apparently he used to play his instrument to calm the seas. It was like a good luck charm to sailors or soldiers who went out to sea. And he's interested if anyone's come across anything like that, or has got any idea of sort of whether it's Roman or it's off a 1964 Triumph Herald car. So yeah, I'd be interested if anyone's got any. It looks like he's got he's blowing a sort of horn there with two pipes with a bird, and then the other side he's got like a trident. But I've done a bit of research on it and cannot find anything.
Do you know, I'm looking now, and I've just Googled, instead of Googling Triton, I Googled Neptune, and there's a modern brooch that looks not dissimilar of him blowing his horn. So maybe if you look for Neptune as opposed to Triton.
Oh, it is off the Triumph Herald then. Pesky varmint. Damn. Sorry, Emily, that's an old car. Sorry, me talking. It's a very old car.
We do have another thing that I just want to give mention to. This Saturday night, we're doing a live show for Detectable, and there will be the draw for the competition that's currently running on detectable.com/competitions. It'll only be for an hour. Myself, Luke, and Adrian will be here. I will be joined by Karen Becker, who will be doing the draw for the entrance into that. So that's this Saturday from 7:30 p.m. on the Big Metal Detecting Show. Karen, I'm going to have a word with you. The Big Detecting Show.
And it goes towards a very good charity, doesn't it? Renee
House, yes, it certainly does.
House. Yeah, very, very good.
The final thing I want to show this evening is another little video, which I'm sure most people are aware of. And it's actually two videos, but we're going to go with one because of the time. So I've not done that right, have I?
Just quickly, Emily, what's your bucket lister?
Oh, my bucket lister is a posy ring. I would love to find a 17th century posy ring with an inscription on the inside. My friend George found one I follow his Instagram, and he found one, and they often have Latin inscribed in them. And I just want to find one of them because I want to find a gold ring, basically, but also I'd love to find one that's inscribed because it just is so personal to the person who lost it. And it's a really, really personal way of getting close to, you know, whoever lost it, more so than a normal gold ring. You know, if it has an inscription on it, that is just mind blowing. So that is by far my bucket lister.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think most things that people find on my bucket listers.
Yeah, no, I've never seen one like quite like George's.
So we have got the next video.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
And that, of course, was the World War II bomb that was found in Exeter this week.
Oh,
and
I haven't seen that.
have you not?
Yeah,
Well,
No.
I've actually got another video that we can show next week or something like that of drone footage from when it took place. So we'll look forward to showing that one as well. But that, as I say, that was the Exeter bomb, which it absolutely brilliant to see that. It really is. I'm just trying to do something else. But do you know what? We're running perfectly well here for time. You know, I'm surprised we're actually doing so well. As a first time of the new way of doing things.
Can I quickly ask Emily a question?
Ask away.
Yeah. What settings do you use on your Knox? I know you've only had it not for long because you're part of Team LP now, I understand as well.
Yes, I am. So I got picked up by LP pretty early on, and it's just like the best decision I've ever made. Not only are they like a fantastic sponsor, but also I'm obviously, like you said, in the team. So I've met so many amazing people, and they're just like a group of fantastic people, basically, and they're really supportive, really helpful. Yeah, so that's fantastic. And like I said, they were so kind in giving me the Knox. So like you said, I'm still learning the settings. I've pretty much got it down to a T on what I want now, which is for the heavily iron places, which is where I've been going with it. I just discriminate out everything under 8 completely, because there's just so much iron that if I don't, I have no chance of getting anywhere with it. And then I do it on the like ploughed field setting, number 1. I don't know the actual proper names of the settings. I know there's like park and beach and things, but yeah, the field setting, number 1. And then I discriminate out everything under 8 and kind of keep sensitivity in that mediums. But yeah, no, I just try that, and that seems to work fine for me. I know Dad's more fine-tuned than me because he's had his longer and he's really found what's worked for what areas, but that seems to be going pretty well on what I run it on at the moment.
So this time next year, there'll be Emily's Knox settings that everyone will be trying out.
Yeah, they'll be programming it with my little things.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
we can keep talking. Don't worry about that. But I'm going to share the screen now because I've got 1 minute till this week's Diggers Dips draw. Nice prize this week as well. So, Luke, am I sharing that? There we go. I think. Oh, there we are. So let me just refresh that just in case. So first prize this week is Reading Land Book, which looks phenomenal. Reading of the landscape is something I love to try and do. I've been doing it in my entire life. I want to drive everywhere. I'm not looking at the road. I'm looking at fields. I don't know. I haven't crashed. Second place tonight is 10 Diggers Dips tokens, and third prize is 5 Diggers Dips tokens. So we're 50 seconds away from that. Emily, did you ever watch The Detectorists?
No, so everybody keeps telling me I should watch it, and then I always keep forgetting. I know.
Disconnector.
Even.
Gosh.
I know. Everyone keeps literally everyone I've spoken to says, "Oh, you should watch it," and I always think, "Yeah, I should. I really will." And then I turn on Netflix, going, "Right, come on." And then I find a history documentary pops up in my recommended, and I'm like, "Oh, Romans!" And then I just forget.
Can't forget. You and your dad will love watching that together.
It's very much on our agenda. I think I'm going to have to force us to sit down and just watch it from back to back.
Right.
Sorry.
Tonight we have 36 entrants. I'm doing an Emily now, aren't I? Anyway, so Emily, a number between 1 and 36.
22, because that's how old I am.
Adrian.
31, because that's how old I am.
And because I'm going for 12. Oh, look at this. 12!
Ay, for God's sake. You've done that about 4 or 5 times now.
Davis. Do you know, I was actually going to go for 22 and see if Barry worked again.
Is your next door neighbour Ben Davis?
Next prize, number between 1 and 36, Emily.
14.
14. Adrian.
11.
32. Oh, it's in the 20s, but it's 22 now.
Oh.
How tense is this, Emily?
Oh, it's
Number
really
27,
tense.
Rob Random, and a winner again. And the final prize for 5 Diggers Dips tokens, Emily.
Okay, 15.
Adrian.
42.
There's only 36 numbers.
12.
I'll go for 27. Oh, it could be Emily and it could be Adrian.
It's so intense.
Stop.
And it's number 16.
I pressed the button wrong.
Hayden. So tonight's prize is Ben Davis has won the book. Rob Random's won 10 tokens and Hayden's won 5 tokens. Diggers Dips will get in contact with you as they normally do for winners and contact you delivery of the book or credit your account. And also for the spot competition we've done at the fridge during the show, what we have 10% off at the moment with ArcMD 10, I think it was. The winner of that was Jamie Williams. So if you could contact, if you can contact me, Luke or Adrian at dave@bigdetectiveshow.com, Adrian @bigdetectiveshow.com, or Luke @bigdetectiveshow.com. And we'll be sorting out your address and get something sent out to you. So thank you to Diggers Dips. Now, where are we? Adrian, any more questions for
Yes.
Emily? Mine went blank.
Emily, we joked about the detectorists, but obviously that is the average person in our hobby. Do you get many of them knocking at your door asking to detect on your land?
So I'm not approaching us personally, but I've had a lot of people online message and say, will I take them detecting and can they come and detect with me and things like that. And without sounding like Scrooge, I don't like to do that because I've also had some weird ones like, oh, let's go detecting together. We can go off into the woods together. And I just think meeting people off the internet to go detecting.
I've said that. Yeah, he knows because I've asked him myself.
Yeah. He tried that one with me.
Sorry, Adrian.
So,
Sorry, Emily.
People I'm friends with, and friends that I've met online and stuff, happily, but people that just randomly approach me wanting to detect with me that I've never spoken to before is a bit like, no.
Yeah. You must. I was talking to Chris from Addicted to Bleeps this week.
Oh yeah.
And he was saying, it's probably more hard work dealing with the comments and the trolls and the people who follow you, stalkers, than actually doing the videos and editing them themselves. Yeah. So it must be a hell of a nightmare, and I don't envy them because editing the videos isn't a simple thing, is it? And filming them, like you said, I personally have tried it, but when I'm out detecting, I go out to metal detect. Yeah. And hats off to people like yourself who are able to do it and produce great videos for us to enjoy, especially in lockdown, when we couldn't get out and people like yourself could put content up there. It's a really good thing.
Yeah, no, the trolls are something like I think because obviously I don't look like the typical metal detectorist. I've been called all sorts of names and called a wannabe and all of this and that. But at the end of the day, I think a detectorist is someone who goes metal detecting. That's as simple as it is. And they obviously, if you don't look like the stereotype, that doesn't necessarily mean you're any better or any worse than anyone else. I think if you've got a common denominator, which is the love for history and the love for the hobby and the passion for the hobby, then I think it's fantastic. But I'm lucky. I don't actually get too many trolls. Everybody I've spoken to on Instagram and things, on the whole, has been absolutely lovely. So I am really lucky. But yeah, there's always going to be a few bad eggs, but you just have to like brush them off and tell them to get a grip and grow up, basically.
Certainly do.
Well, I think like coming on the show tonight, luckily Dave and Luke, who originally set up the show, one of the good things about it is you see people in their real sort of how they are, and not that YouTube doesn't, but you get to see people like your knowledge of history and detecting in the 5-6 years you've been detecting, you know what you're talking about. And if people watch your YouTube videos, they'll realise that they're genuine YouTube videos. I watched one the other day where you had the knob that goes on the horn. Sorry, on the horn of a bull to protect the farmer. And little things like that, I found those years ago and used to just think they were off a bit of 1930s furniture. And then I've begun to realise now. But it's nice that you've come on the show tonight. And I think from the comments, they've been very positive and people have been really encouraged to see how much you are worth in our hobby. It's nice to see.
Emily, we've had somebody... something popped up. There you go. Stan's lad commented on one of your finds that you and your dad made that looked like a Saxon stirrup mount. Did you ever find out what it was?
So I think he's on about the one possibly which is like almost, I think it's like it looks like it has horns and it's sort of like that shape. And it was all rusty and crusted and it had 3 holes in it. And yeah, we do believe that is a Saxon stirrup mount for certain. Now we've found ones online which look relatively almost very, very similar. Ours isn't quite as good condition, but you can kind of see how it would have looked like that at one point. It's very distinguished. It's basically a triangular thing, and then it has 2 horns and some holes. But when we pulled it out of the ground, we knew it was something special. It wasn't like anything we'd seen before, although it kind of looked like a bit like iron in the way that it had oxidized. We knew from the reading on the detector that it wasn't, and yeah, we do believe now that is a Saxon stirrup mount for certain. So that was a hell of a find, basically. That was so exciting.
I presume Carl Napier would be one's partner.
Oh God, what's he saying? I can't see the live chat.
I saw that.
About a cat reveal, please, Emily.
Cat reveal. Hang on.
Cat's coming out. Make sure you hold it the right way round.
Oh God, you don't want to see his thumb.
Dave, you'd like that.
This is Toby.
Hello, Toby. How are you?
So yeah, he's obviously
he's perfect.
People have seen my dog because he's in all my videos, but I feel like Toby doesn't get enough attention. So for anyone that likes cats, this is my little mate.
Oh, lovely. I had a cat like that. Got run over by Mondeo. Never mind.
Oh no!
I thought there was a dad joke coming then.
No. It looked exactly like that. It was called Whiskey. But yeah, it was many years ago.
We've got another brief video lined up that was sent in this week to the Big Detecting Show Facebook group. And it's from a gentleman called George Bouvet or Beauvoir in America. And absolutely love this little video. It's only short and, it'll explain it itself. Luke, if you could, roll VT.
What's going on, guys? So I thought I'd make a quick little video to show you my latest discovery. This is the clump I found a few days back that has the Flying Eagle scent from the 1800s. That's a US coin, of course. It's got other buttons in it. Some other metal as well. There's a rivet. But while I was checking it out, I seen a shiny edge look gold, so I started scraping away some of this top surface, and I seen this button. Looks like a 4-hole button from London. I'm assuming it's going to be brass, but I will test it with my gold tester without pulling it out of there. I think it's pretty cool. You know, I might just keep all this as one because there's a lot of history from all over the world, obviously, just in this one clump. So I'll post and let you guys know, and I hope you enjoy this little video.
So this video by George, it's actually showing you some coins in a clump. Now it looks like metal at first, but we actually found out that this is the leftovers from a paper mill, and they regurgitate all the cloth, fabric, etc. that they throw into the pulping machines. This would be the waste that comes out. The mill's gone now, and it encrusts it in a solid, more or less concrete material. So that's why we showed that video, because we all thought it was very interesting. Fantastic little video, and hopefully George is going to send some other things over in the future. And again, anybody watching, if you do have any small videos, and we're talking 1 minute or so, 2 minutes, even if you'd like to review your machine, you'd like to discuss a find, you'd like to show us cleaning your find, anything at all, if you want to do that, send it over to us at Dave, Adrian, or Luke at BigDetectiveShow.com, and we'll be sure to add it. There are some more that I want. Well, ended up getting more than we could fit in tonight. So thank you to all those, and those who your metal detecting finds that you put on the Facebook group, they'll be coming shortly in a new segment to end the show, which is quite nice, isn't it, Adrian?
It is, and you put some of my finds in there, which I was quite surprised.
Stole them off Instagram. I had none at the time, and then suddenly I had loads turn in.
I only use Instagram. I am on Facebook, but Instagram's my happy place. It's a nice place. I don't know what your thoughts are, Emily.
Yeah, I feel like from what I've experienced, it's the same detecting community, but on Facebook, people can have a sharper tongue, whereas on Instagram, everyone's just so much more friendly. So that's kind of why I haven't started a Facebook page. I haven't really got as much of a thick skin as perhaps other people. Because at the end of the day, I am just a girl on a farm who likes detecting. I didn't ever expect for my page or my channel to grow as much as it ever has. So I've kind of thrown myself slightly in the deep end. And as much as I love it, I don't really want to open myself up to trolls. But Instagram, no one. I can't remember the last time I got any unpleasantness on Instagram. Everyone is just absolutely amazing on there.
It's a nice place.
Don't forget, we've also got Detector Network, which is the detectorist form of Facebook, and there's no unniceness on there. Great little place. I can't get my head around Instagram since Facebook made all the changes. It's just I want to go through stuff, and it's showing me stuff that I have no. You've caught up, so we're just going to show you rubbish. I
keep getting my son. He's 17. I get him to look at it because I kept getting women in bikinis. And I was like, what the hell is all this? And the hashtag money and coins. Yeah, and it was just women in bikinis in Dubai. So got rid of that.
Oh, right. Oh, how did we get there? Okay.
Yeah. But no, Detector Network.
Hold on. Emily's just had you off.
What?
Emily's just proper had you off. She's well had you.
Oh, yeah. Well.
It's Detector Network.
Detector Network. Out of interest, I've just made a note here, Emily. What do you use to clean your coins?
So for like milled like coppers and things like that, I do tend to just use firstly soap and water, and then a mild, I think it's a silver polish because it's incredibly non-abrasive, but it just tends to get the mud. But I use little cotton buds, and I just go around usually with just soap and water, a tiny silver polish if it's copper. Hammered coins, I just use spit and tin foil. I don't really like to polish them particularly. I prefer just to clean them. And a lot of people don't believe me when I say I didn't clean the gold coin with anything other than water.
No, I can believe that.
Yeah, it didn't. I didn't know until I found them that they don't tarnish. It didn't need cleaning. It was amazing.
I found a William III half guinea last year, 1628, I think, or whatever, and it literally came out the ground like I thought it was a kid's chocolate coin. It was sparkling. It was really good definition. But you're right. You get good. You get status that are a bit messy and dirty. But you're right. I mean, yours looks lovely. And the only reason I mentioned cleaning is Graham Dempsey, who's probably in the chat. He does.
He is tonight.
He might be. He's probably fallen asleep. Dave, what's the website?
It's Composite Pencil.
Composite cleaning pencil. He does a special pencil.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I highly recommend
Emily,
it because
absolutely phenomenal. And
Really?
I found a crusty Roman just before Christmas.
Yeah.
And I, like you probably get loads of crusty Romans, and I just thought, I'll leave it. And then in the new year, I sat there cleaning my coins with his stuff, and well, you can, it's rubbish. You can, well, that a silver denarius that was really, oh gosh,
No.
yeah,
not having it. Take a picture and we'll do it next week.
Oh, you can see it there.
I've heard
Yeah,
that
Graham-
they're good, but I haven't.
I think
watched
if Graham's-
them, but that would
I'll
be
tell you what, we'll
really
put Graham
useful.
in. Graham is watching. He's just sent me a text, so I'll put you in communication with him, and he can tell you all
Please,
about them
yeah.
personally, because the range that he's got now, from just having the original composite pencil to the additional tools to use in it, and the cleaning solution and the wax and the other bits and bobs, phenomenal range. Lee Hull's just reminded me, this is what he used, and this is what I used to use until Graham comes along.
wow.
It's absolutely brilliant because it cleans it, and the beeswax stays on and protects. One of my friends used it on a Bronze Age axe head, and it's in the museum now with that wax polish on. So that's what we use as well. So Emily, is there anything else? We'll be ending the show shortly. Is there anything else you'd like to add? And obviously, please point people again to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, basically, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. So, like they said on that little yellow thing, my YouTube is Metal Detecting Emily. I'm not the most scheduled. I don't have a schedule. I try and upload maybe every week or every other week, but when I do upload, I do like to kind of put a lot of effort into it. So if you fancy watching my my channels and stuff or my videos, then go for it. But yeah, I haven't really got much else. Oh, look, there's my page, look. But yeah, no, I mean, what I do is I just kind of film, I make it up as I go along. There's no real planning to anything that I do. It all depends on what I find and what, when I find it, and if I find something, and if not, I just tend to abandon the video mid-dig and just carry on digging without filming, and it's just as good. But yeah, if you like the look of what I do, then feel free to give me a follow, because I'm going to be trying to keep on some sort of regular upload schedule as much as I can do anyway.
What you just said sounds like me in life, plodding along, having no idea what I'm doing.
Pretty much my ethos is, make it up as you go along. I hope for the best. Just do what you can, and that's the best we can do.
Brilliant. Well, we're going to be ending the show momentarily. Please stay on for a couple of minutes more before the adverts to see the viewers' finds, because it's something I'm not very good at videos, so I'm trying to do better. But the song is phenomenal. The song is so catchy, isn't it, Adrian? It's untrue.
Yes, very good.
Even my little lad's been banging all day because of it, and you'll realise why at the moment. Emily, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. It's I think I've even learnt a lot as well from, and you're so passionate about the subject, and you obviously have so much knowledge, and it's great that you're able to pass that on through your videos. So thank you on behalf of myself, Luke and Adrian, certainly, and the viewers tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed it.
And you're more than welcome. Sorry?
It's nice to have a genuine, enthusiastic person on. So thank you very much.
It certainly is.
Oh,
and if you want the little trailers you saw before, if you do any videos and you can compile a 1.5 minute, 2 minute video, we'd be more than happy to play it on the show to point people to your videos.
Thank you. I'll happily do that. That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
We are dead nice in reality, really, aren't we? I mean, I took my hat off to show Adrian my lockdown hair as well. Look at that now. I'm a hippie.
Interesting, Dave.
It's getting
I've
long.
been bald. I've been completely bald for 15 years. So I'm trying to see what it looks like.
I'm starting to do it.
Right, everybody. Again, thank you, Emily. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to Luke. and Adrian, and we will see you all next week with our guest, Stephen Meara, who's an old friend of mine, a fellow co-editor of Phenomena magazine when I was co-editor of that some time ago. In fact, we launched it together. And he's also part of the team who are responsible for Chariot of the Gods theme park in Blackpool. So we'll be talking a lot of ancient civilization and such like. So something I can get my teeth into next week because I have more knowledge than that about metal detecting finds. So again, thank you everybody. It's been a pleasure having you tonight, Emily. Thank you everyone in the chat room for asking great questions. And we'll play out with the readers' finds. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Get off.
There once was a field set back by the sea that I want to hunt, just my buddies and me. We all showed up, got our gear turned on, so swing your detectors, swing. Soon as the sun gets bright, we'll hunt for treasure with all our might. One day we'll find that gold, let's get our detectors and go. We've been hunting for hours now, found some trash and parts to a plow. We haven't found gold and I don't know how, but we'll hunt till it's time to go. Soon as the sun gets bright, we'll hunt for treasure with all our might. One day we'll find that gold, let's get our detectors and go. Before the sun set, I heard some beeping. They came running to the sound of screaming. Deep in the hole, something round was gleaming. Turned out to be tinfoil. Soon as the sun gets bright, we'll hunt for treasure with all our might. One day we'll find that gold, let's get our detectors and go.
Many spend their days passively searching for something interesting to do. Others dig in and find it. While nothing is certain, anything is possible. And the anticipation leads you into action. Because it's here that adventures begin. Stories are unearthed. Secrets are revealed. Fortunes are found. Mysteries are solved. And the past is brought to life. Nothing valued is ever lost. It's simply waiting to be discovered. So here's the question. What are you looking for?